because I think it is Ugandan specific, but also kind of global. The arts are not something that one can think about when they are talking or thinking about monetary success. Some people can become very successful for being artists, but others may not necessarily be successful. And in our context in Uganda, when a parent takes their child to school, the expectation is that this child is going to be successful, and in most cases, economically successful. So I remember one of the questions that my mom asked me when we were thinking about whether I should study music, dance, and drama or not was, she said, so who are you going to depend on for the rest of your life? And I really hear her. I understand her, why she was very worried about me. And so in terms of my artistic journey, I have always known that writing or theater is a passion first and foremost, other than being something that I gain from economically. And I have been fortunate in the sense that I have written plays, they've been staged, and I have earned by doing that. Of course, I supplement that to either teach at universities or write commissioned work. But I have to say that when I write for passion, that has been my greatest joy. When I see something that I really feel I need to say something about, and I put it into a story that can be performed on stage, that has been my greatest passion. And I have written many plays. I think I've been very, very fortunate to have had my work produced in different places, on different continents. So I really, in terms of being a playwright, I feel I've been very lucky and blessed that my work has been read and seen and studied at different universities across the globe. I've had work here, produced here at the Uganda National Culture Center, which also houses the National Theatre. I have had my work produced in other Eastern African countries. And so I feel like in terms of my artistic journey, I'm very lucky that my work I've not written to just shelve. I have written and people have seen what I have written and read what I have written.
What do you want to catch?
No, I know.
You have a nose?
Yes, I have a nose.
Where's your nose?
Right here.
Where?
Right here on my face.
You have a face?
First of all, everybody has a face.
Where?
Right here.
I do not see it.
What motivates me is, so there's this thing that I think artists may have in common, that when a story wants to come out, it will tug at you, it will nag you as an artist until you actually let it out. So that has been one of my motivations. When a story wants to be told and wants me to tell it in a particular way, it will not give me peace until I have told it. That's one. The second one is I feel that there are not so many people who get to have a platform to create, to tell stories, or to be gifted that way. And I think I ask myself, if I have been gifted in this area, why shouldn't I use this gift that God has given me? So that is the second motivation. And then the third motivation is when I see something that I feel must be known by other people, it feels like a responsibility. If I have identified something and I really feel that this is something that other people need to know and to begin to question, then it motivates me to put it out in the public and invite whoever is interested into a conversation. Because the kind of work that I do and the kind of plays that I write have themes that I feel need to be talked about And so for me, writing is a way of inviting other people into the kind of conversation that's in my head. I put it out there so that it can be public, and I invite people to enter into a conversation with me and with the story that I'm telling. I believe in God. I don't know what more you want me to say. I believe that there is a supernatural being, for sure. I know that the force that you're explaining, the way you have explained it, for me, I give that God, the name God. I know that other people may give it other names, and that's why I was saying that I totally believe that there is a supernatural being. And I could say it in so many different ways, in different languages that I speak, but because we are now communicating in English, I'm going to say that I do believe in God. And for that force that you're explaining, that you're talking about, for me, I refer to it as God. Who is that person that I would love to collaborate with and have never collaborated with? Honestly, I don't think I have an answer for you. And I'm the type who really loves collaborations. And some of my work have emerged from collaborations. But I don't know, I think I need to think about that. But I don't think there's one particular person I would love to collaborate with. Honestly, I think I need to think about that. So my work is very different and very diverse. And usually my work dictates space where it can be performed. I've written work that, for example, would not do well in a conventional space, like, for example, the main auditorium of the National Theatre here. So that's a very interesting question, because I don't think that my work can be confined into a specific space. But I can also say that I've always hoped that at some point one of my plays will end up on the Broadway in New York. I've had my work off Broadway, but I hope that I can create a script that can end up on Broadway. Interestingly, the lockdown came at a time when I had just had a baby. So I was in my own open lockdown. So that actually was great in the sense that it really allowed me to spend time with my baby. However, I beg to disagree with you that the creative minds have been in lockdown. I think people have been creating, just that the physical spaces have been locked does not mean that the creatives haven't been creating. And thankfully, the digital spaces allowed for some creatives, those who can access them and can afford them, have allowed for them to continue sharing their work and their creation. And so when my baby was a little bit older, around 4 months, 5 months, I started writing again, and I think I was again really blessed because I was commissioned to write something specifically for a digital platform. And I'm actually working on a new script that is specifically meant for online. It's an online script. It's not meant for stage. And the other thing is some of my work was adapted for podcasts. So I was still able to be creative, but of course not as open and as available as when there was no lockdown. But I think also because I was busy raising a baby, that in itself made me stay back a lot in terms of being creative. So you can reach out to me on my website, which is asimwekawe.org, and Asimwe is ASIIMWE, Kawe KAWE. So asimwekawe.org, or you can reach out to me via my Facebook page, which is Asimwe Deborah Gashuji. just put Asimwe Deborah and the last name will come, because that one is quite complicated. Or you can find me on Twitter at Adikdax, so ADKDAKS, which are the other, I'm kind of forgetting but I think those are enough. Those are enough for now.
Thank you so much for joining this week's show, Doa Doa 2021. I hope you had some fun and got some inspiration. If you have any comment, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave your comment, or our Facebook page, Twitter or Instagram. We'll definitely get back to you. We are very grateful, and until next week, I remain your host, Faizo Kiwewa from Bayimba and the Doa Doa team. Keep it Doa Doa 2021.
People at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They have moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
Welcome to this edition of the Coffee Break. This is House of Talent and my name is Atengi Emmanuel. Remember, this is the show that we get to talk all about coffee, what's happening in the coffee business, different elements about coffee. And back in the studio today is someone we all love, someone we've taken a long time without seeing. I love saying it, the Coffee Messiah is back. It's like the second coming of Jesus. So the Coffee Messiah has come back. Amon, welcome back to the show.
Well, it's nice to be here again.
Yeah, it's good to see you. You've actually been gone for a while. I don't know, were you like out converting people, you know, bringing people more into the coffee side?
Well, I've been trying to make ends meet and yeah, happy, healthy, so it's good to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you. I hope your ends have met.
Yeah, they have, definitely they have met.
Well, to complement the Coffee Messiah, we have someone else in the studio, the first female guest we ever had on this show. And at the beginning of the show, she told me that since we have a Coffee Messiah, we should have a coffee goddess. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome with me, Swabra Banks, to the show. Swabra, you're very welcome to the Coffee Break show. I know like a lot of people out there, whenever you tell them your name is Swabra Banks, okay? The Banks part is not a Ugandan name, totally not, okay? So how did you end up with that name?
That's a name that was given to me by a sister of mine, actually, because she used to believe in me and she was like, you're going to get a lot of money.
Okay.
Yeah, so she gave me the name Banks. Yeah.
So have you reached that point where you have that a lot of money?
Yes, yes, I thank God, yes.
All right, so probably after this we're going to the bank with Swabra Banks.
Probably.
Yeah, but that's interesting. Welcome to the show. We just want to start off with basically your profile. Who is Swabra Banks? Who is I'm a Barrister? You know, where did you grow up, and how did you end up into the coffee business?
Okay, so Swabra Banks is a barrister.
Yeah.
I grew up in Entebbe Road, in Deje, and I went to Mutesa One-Way University. I was doing mass comm, and then how I ended up into coffee, it was through a friend of mine who is now like a brother to me. He pitched this coffee thing to me. Of course, I didn't have interest in coffee, and I had to go and enroll in the academy. And then as I was doing the coffee course, I fell in love with the coffee.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yes.
So you talked about, you know, in Mutesa One, you actually did a course in mass communication.
Yes, I did.
So growing up as a child, what did you want to be? You know, people always want to be a lawyer, some want to be a pilot. I had some kids say they wanted to be a taxi conductor because they hold a lot of money.
Yeah.
So growing up, what did you think you would be in the future?
I wanted to be an actress actually because I loved movies ever since I was a young girl, and I think I loved the camera from day one. That's why I went to
So are there any hopes of you getting into the movie industry in Uganda?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think
I'm
so?
now taken by the coffee industry.
Well, that's very interesting. Amon, to hear from you. I also know that, you know, growing up you wanted to be something. You know, what did you want to be when you were a kid growing up? I know there was nothing like a barista in your mind. I don't even think you knew about coffee at that time. So, from my perspective, I think you wanted to grow up and be a model. But you can correct me on that.
Why would you choose a model? Well, me from I want to be a journalist.
Okay.
I think I realized that in my P6.
Yeah.
We had a teacher who was doing journalism at the same time teaching us SST.
Yeah.
So this guy was like a lifestyle guy. He used to be a very, very, very inspiring guy. So I liked him from the start.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I want to be a journalist. So that's how I picked a dream of becoming. At least I'm trying to achieve that, you know, because right now, if I'm doing mass comm, at the same time, this we're doing coffee, so I'm still on the track. I'm not like Swabra who's already taken by coffee.
Yeah.
You know, the most amazing thing is that actually all the three of us here have done mass comm at a certain level.
Wow.
Okay, and
So we have one thing in common.
yes, we have something in common at least. The other thing we have in common is that, you know, we all passionate about coffee, which is a very good thing. So, Swabra, you told us that a friend of yours, who's now like your brother, introduced you to the coffee industry.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I know that when someone introduces you, there is always a pitch they give you. It's like if I want someone, let's say the Coffee Messiah always goes out to convert people and he has to give a pitch of why should I join the coffee business instead of actually starting a boutique, okay? Which one will make more sense? So what were some of those things that he told you about the coffee business that actually pulled you into it?
Actually, the most interesting part about it was he also didn't know anything about coffee. he wasn't a barista by then. He just told me you have to do this course and then come to Dubai and make a lot of money because you know the coffee business there is money. So I also went into it to study to go and get money.
Okay.
But along the way, of course, I fell in love and I decided to stay in Uganda.
All right, so you talked about Dubai. Most of the people we've had on the show have had some experience with the Middle East. We had a guy who worked in Kuwait as a barista. So moving from Uganda to Dubai, did you go and work as a barista or you went and got involved, you know, into other businesses?
I went to Dubai way back. I think that was around, it was around 2014, but it wasn't coffee. Yeah, I knew coffee after I came back to Uganda. Yeah, because he was like, now that you're back for your vacation, you should do something different and then come back as someone new.
Okay.
Yes, that's when I went into the coffee industry.
Amon, I remember last time we were talking about you not wanting to go out of the country, you know, to become a barista. And I don't know if your mind has changed since then, yeah. But like most of our baristas go to Dubai, they go to UAE, yeah. I really haven't heard of any barista who has gone maybe to America, maybe to Europe. Is it easier as a barista to go from Uganda to the UAE than it is to go maybe to Europe or to America?
Well, guys do go in the UK, in the US.
Yeah.
Guys do go, but only that these people go in the line of maybe doing hotels, not coffee shops.
Yeah.
Because it's because someone is easy to access that side, and whoever goes that side, now there's a lot of connection that side, so people get to know that okay, Emma went to UAE. But when someone goes maybe to UK, it will be hard for someone to know, because maybe like it's a family or a family friend who gets to know that, you know what, Emma went to UK.
Yeah.
But people do go that side,
Okay.
and they make a lot of money.
That's very interesting. Still talk about Dubai. I know there are very many differences basically between Dubai and Uganda. Okay,
Yes.
and going there, I believe there was that cultural change. So, how were you able to deal with the culture change? Because I know that Uganda is more of a freestyle kind of
Yeah,
place, and
yes.
Dubai is really a strict place, especially when it comes to ladies. So, how were you able to manage the culture change from Uganda then to Dubai?
It was really tough.
Yeah.
It was tough for the first months. I think the first 2 months, and then of course the fact that I went to Dubai as you know, like looking for a job and all that. There are also other people who come to Dubai that are not from that country. Yeah. So that kind of gave me a sense that I'm not alone in this. So of course you have to make friends. You have to learn the language, because learning the language is the most important thing to do. Yeah. So I caught up with the situation.
Okay, so did you
Yes.
learn the language?
Yes, of course.
Okay, that's very interesting.
I
So,
like the language.
if I went to Dubai and wanted to order a cup of coffee, okay, how would I say that in Arabic?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
So basically you learned a few things, like maybe
Yeah, a few
greeting,
things. Yes.
you know?
I used
Because-
to know all of it actually, but
Oh.
it's been a while. I don't remember all of it.
Because in most cases, when you learn a language, what you get to know is how you greet
Yes.
and everything's like
Yes,
to keep
yes.
you running in case you get lost. It's like those guys who come to Uganda. What they need to know is Mwasuze Mutia, Olibulunji, something like that.
Yeah.
But they can't go beyond that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like how you say that, Olibulunji.
Because that's how they say it.
Accent.
That's how they say it.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, I also believe that dealing with people, basically, when you're a barista, or at that time you're a waitress, okay,
Yes.
you have to deal with people, okay, and
Yes.
customers are really different. You'll find a customer who's really nice and sweet. Then there are those who are backing orders at you.
Yes.
You know, there are those that you can't deal with. So, did you ever find yourself in a situation whereby you were presented with a customer who was really harsh, okay, and how did you deal with that situation?
The first thing these people do is to train you,
Okay.
customer care, how to
Yeah.
handle clients, because of course they also know how clients behave.
Yeah.
So you start up with everything like the day when you know what's coming.
Okay.
Yes, because you're in a country that is not yours. So every time you could get maybe a harsh client, you could know how to handle. You just be polite and apologize, and then you get the order and then you move on.
Okay, interesting. To Amon, I know that in Uganda there are certain places that I've gone to and there's totally no customer care. You enter a restaurant, you're ordering for something. First of all, I believe that when you go to a restaurant or to a coffee shop, okay, someone is supposed to come and attend to you, all right? But there are some places that in Uganda you go to a hotel, you go to a coffee shop, and you really have to call the waiter or call the waitress to get served, okay? Amon, how has been your experience in Uganda in relation to customer care, especially where you work? Are we up to the mark of good customer care, or we still need a lot of help in that part?
Well, to be honest, in Uganda we still have the poorest customer care.
Yeah.
Because in most cases, these guys who are in customer care or customer service, most of them are either in school and they're just doing the job for the sake of doing the job, but they are professional customer care attendants.
Yeah.
These guys have studied this. They've gone to like a room and study this. They have gotten training, so they know how to handle a person. But in Uganda, it's really, really hard to find a very, very good customer care.
Yeah.
For a case of where I have been in a few places, I haven't had that bad experience with customer care because I've went to a coffee shop and I've received instant care, instant customer service, and it's been a nice experience. So I haven't received that bad service.
All right.
Yeah.
According to me, I think that just like you said, we really haven't reached the mark.
Yeah.
We still need a lot of help when it comes to the customer care industry. And I believe that most of the time, you know, you just get a job and there's really not much training put into it. You just start working and you don't know how to deal with people. I believe that the most important part when it comes to such a service industry is not even the coffee you're brewing or it's not the food that you're giving. It's basically how you treat customers. Okay, that's what keeps them coming back. Okay. So, Abra, before we go for a break, basically how we got to you was that you were blowing up on social media. Okay. A little bird told us that there's a certain barista that is now blowing up on social media. Okay, and it really caught our attention. We're like, oh, okay. You know, baristas are actually getting out there. You know, the coffee business is starting to grow. Yeah. So before we go for break, I just want you to tell the viewers out there, okay, who are you on social media? What is your name on social media? Are you Swabra Banks? Are you someone else on social media? Because sometimes people have aliases, you know. I'm one on Facebook, I'm one person, then on Instagram, I'm another person. So before we go into a break, just tell the people who you are on social media.
On social media, I use I am a barista.
Okay.
Yes.
That's both on all your social media
all my
platforms?
social media platforms, yes.
Okay. Yeah, please.
That is Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Okay. We're going to get into a break right now. In the studio, we have Amon Mukisa, the Coffee Messiah, and we also have Swabra Banks, the Coffee Goddess, and me, the Coffee Human, Ateng Emmanuel. We'll take a break right now, and when we get back, we're going to talk more about how you can brand yourself in the coffee business. Stay right there. This is House of Talent Television. Welcome back to House of Talent. This is the Coffee Break Show where we get to talk everything about coffee. And in the studio with me, I have Amon, the Coffee Messiah, and Swabra Banks, the Coffee Goddess. And basically, we've been talking about her life. Where did she start from and how did she end up in the coffee business? We also had Amon telling us about his experience and what he wanted to be, you know, when he grew up. He said he wanted to be, you know, a journalist, okay, which I believe that you're studying, okay. You got me wrong. I thought you wanted to be a model, but here we are.
Why did you think I wanted to be a model?
Maybe look like one.
Yes. I mean, when someone looks at him, you know, you can see the well-kept beard, you know, the well-kept hair, the nice shirt. I think it's something that, you know, you really need to look into.
Maybe I should.
Yes, you should. Okay. At least we'll say we know someone famous. Yeah, but like I said before, we went into a break. We're just getting into basically branding in the coffee business. Okay. Before I saw your profile on Instagram, I really hadn't seen any other barista who would put themselves out there. You know, it's like being a barista is only what you do when you're at your coffee shop or when you're at your place of employment. Okay, it's not like how you have all these social media influencers, you know, always putting out their videos, you know, tweeting on Instagram. I really haven't had anything from a barista. Okay, and it's good to have someone with experience. Okay, we just want to know, how do I start? If as a layman, I've gone to, you know, barista school, I'm a barista, where would I start when it comes to branding myself as a barista?
I think the first thing you have to do is get the passion.
Okay.
Yes, because you can do everything, but as long as you don't have the passion for it, you're not going to make people love it.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, you have to fall in love with it first, and then do some research. Don't be in the comfort zone. You have to do some research, know more about the industry, be down to earth. You don't have to show off and all that. And have content. You should have content. Always have content. People love to see what is unique about the industry. What is she doing other people are not doing? How come she's doing this and other people are not doing it? Let me follow her. Let me try to do as she's also doing. So at the end of the day, you make people love what you're doing. If you also love what you're doing.
Yeah, so basically the first thing you're saying is have a plan.
Yes.
Okay? Sit down with yourself and say, you know what, this is what I want to achieve.
Yes.
Okay, these are the steps to it. All right, so I have a plan. This is is what I want to do, okay, but I'm not yet out there in social media.
Yeah.
One of the first things when you're basically picking a name, when you're picking social media platforms or what you're going to be on social media is picking a name.
Yes.
Okay? The name, I believe, has to stand out. And
Yes.
the name has to be catchable, something that will stay.
Yes.
All right. So you use I am a barrister. Okay. How did you come up with this name? I believe that there were countless other names you'd have just used for Banks.
Yeah.
I believe that in itself is a very good name.
Yes.
So how did you end up with I am a barrister?
I'm one person who is very proud about being a barrister.
Okay.
So the name just came up because I'm proud of being a barrister. And, you know, people used to call me Banks. And I wanted to stop that, to stop people to call me Banks. And maybe start calling me barrister.
Okay.
So I wanted to send a message out there that I am a barrister.
Okay.
Yes, I'm not a barrister.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Amon. Amon, when it comes to branding, okay, what would be the first step in your regard, in your perspective?
Well, when it comes to branding, I think it's the cause and the value you stand for. Because branding involves personalization or a personality, then it involves this other side we're putting out.
Okay.
Because I try to ask myself, why are we not having barristers taken as ambassadors of certain things? For example, we're having different artists come out and they're ambassadors of tourism, and yet coffee is a very, very key major factor in maybe tourism.
Yeah.
Why don't we have these barristers come out and they're like, you know what, Swabra Banks is the ambassador of tourism in terms of coffee, you know, she's going to influence coffee growing in a park or in Gulu. So why don't we have that? I think, like as Swabra is saying, you need to know why you're doing something,
Yeah.
and you need to come out of the cage and start doing that. Because if we have various barristers have traits of branding themselves, for example, if I am a barrister and I know, okay, I want to go beyond being the station, you know, I want to be out there. I want to show that I'm a proud barrister and I can do whatever it takes to be that good person who can be approached and they give me business and I want to influence for a certain cause, you know?
Yeah.
So that would be a good thing. So like Sobra is saying, I just want to know how she came out with the name I am a barrister, because it's really working. Because yes,
Thank you.
someone asks you, who are you? I am a barrister. So how did you come out with that?
As I've said before, I'm proud to be a barrister, and I am a barrister. It's not special. It's just that I wanted to send a message to people that I'm a barrister now, and I'm proud to be one. That's how I came up with the name, just like that. I am a barrister.
Have you been approached by different companies to like do business with you because of I am a barrister?
Yes, because everyone is like, what does barrister mean? And then they have to look it up, and then they're like, oh, it
Yeah.
means someone who does this and this and this. Because a barrister is something huge. A barrister doesn't just make coffee. No, we make a lot of things. You know that we make juice, we make ice things, and all that. Yeah. So, being a barrister is something that really makes people want to know who a barrister is, not just Swabra Banks, because someone will be like, oh, Swabra Banks and I see coffee, or maybe she's in the coffee business.
Now, Emma, you see, like she's speaking about being a barrister. Most of us didn't know that a barista does coffee, does juices, does
Yeah.
cocktails,
Yeah.
and various beverages.
Yeah.
So at least if we brand ourselves as baristas, we get to put our image out there,
Yeah.
and we'll get some business coming through.
Yeah. I remember someone telling me that the first time he heard the word barrister, he thought it was
A lawyer.
A lawyer.
Yeah, because you know, let me tell you something. I was having a conversation with now his spokesperson of NUP, Joe Senyon.
Yeah.
So the first time I met him, he asked me, "What do you do?" Because it was after my senior six. I'm like, "I'm a barista." Wait, I'm studying to be a barista. For you already a barista.
Yeah, so most times people actually, get it confused. We still haven't reached that place in Uganda where we know what a barista is. We can't really put the line between a barista of law and a barista as someone who does coffee. So I have my plan, picked out my super cool name. All right, I'm ready to go on social media. Okay. What is that brand identity? Every time I look at Swabra Banks' account, every time I look at Amon's account, what are some of those messages that you want me to get without you ever talking to me? There are some social media handles of different people that you see, okay, and you just get, you know, certain keywords immediately, like this one is friendly, you know, this one is really nice. What are some of those words that, you know, come to someone when they log onto your Instagram page?
In most cases, when I'm posting something on my Instagram, I make sure I'm sending out a message. It doesn't have to be coffee specifically. It can be something else.
Yeah.
So I always want to show people that a barista is not just, you know, making the latte art and all that.
Yeah.
It comes from right from the garden to the cup.
Yeah.
So in most cases, when I'm posting something on social media, I make sure I communicate through my posts or my pictures or my anything,
Yeah.
that a barista does this and this and this. It's not just coffee.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
So when someone looks onto my page, it's like, oh, even a barista does this.
Ah.
Oh, even a barista does this.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I look at when I'm posting anything.
So
on
I
social media.
actually love that perspective, showing people that you don't have to be, you know, boxed up in only one thing.
Yes.
I'm a barista, but I can actually do, you know, other cool things.
Yeah.
So Amon, I remember I think it was last week when I met you at Enduro. I saw you basically interacting with one of your customers. Okay, and it was a good thing to see, you know, because that interpersonal relationship you have between a barista and a customer is a very important thing. Okay, so what are some of those qualities that your customers have told you that you have, you know, some of the things that they've complimented you about that actually identify you as Amon Bukisa, the barista?
Me as a person?
Yes.
Well, well, I think most of them have complimented about the communication skills, because it all goes down to the communication skills. Those simple communication skills. Most people tend to think it's just a thing, but it's a very crucial thing. Because just imagine someone is talking to you, but you're not paying attention to them. For example, I'm speaking to Swabra, but I'm looking at you. That's already a turn off.
Yeah.
Someone needs attention, needs to be shown that, okay, I'm talking to you, you know, I'm attending to you. So if you're attending to a client or having a conversation, because sometimes you can't be busy on a station. She's a trainer right here.
Yeah.
I don't know why she trains her students, for example, to handle a busy station. But just imagine now I have a busy station and a certain Edwin comes on station and is like, okay, he wants to have that conversation.
Yeah.
How are you going to handle that, Edwin? To show him that, you know what, Edwin, I'm busy, you know, but let's talk after having this whole mess worked out, you know. So that's what keeps you going, or keeps a brand of a barista compared to someone who's going to just come, okay, I'm busy, and just comes out and say, oh, why Edwin? Don't I want to be busy in Vaco? You know, something like that. So it's a way how you interact or how you communicate with this person that keeps you in that same state they see. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's not just about, you know, like I used to think before, you know, I knew about the whole barista thing. I used to think being a barista is basically just pouring coffee for someone.
It's called, you know, the word is a barista, which means it comes from the bar, then barista, you know. So it means it's a bar. Someone can access that bar, you know. So if someone accesses that bar, you don't have a right to chase them away. That's because it's a bar.
Yeah.
So you have to go basically above and beyond what you do.
Yes.
It's not just about giving them the coffee. You have to create some sort of relationship.
It actually means a bartender who is a star.
Interesting.
That's what it
a good way
means.
to put it.
Yeah.
Maybe Emma, I just want to know from Swabra, what are you using as your brand to add value on the coffee industry? Is it just Swabra, oh, I am a barista, just for the sake of social media? But how are you using I am Swabra as a brand to add value on the coffee industry, and how are you doing that?
First of all, I'm doing that through my trainings. I make sure I give the real content, the genuine content, and then quality. A lot of people are in the business, but they don't, you know, give quality out there. They prefer getting a lot of money without even putting in. So to me, it goes back to quality. you have to make sure you give people quality, both the knowledge part of it and the, you know, the coffee part of it. Yeah, quality.
Okay. Before we get into another break, okay, I know that, okay, now we have the plan, we have the name. Basically, now I want people to know that, you know what, let's say I'm Emmanuel, I'm a coffee human, because I have a goddess and a messiah here.
No, now you're a coffee genius.
You know, so these are the different words. I want people to know I'm friendly. I want people to know that I'm not only a barista, there's basically other things that I do, okay? How do you go about creating your content? Because I believe that that is the most important thing when it comes down to social media. You have to create content that is basically engaging and content that will keep people coming back. You know, so before we go for a break, how do you as Swabra Banks, you know, sit down and create your content that will capture the attention of other people?
Research, through research. I do a lot of research actually. All the time I'm on my phone doing research. Research comes through in a lot of ways. First of all, you have to show people that we have competitions. You know, baristas have competitions. It's not just about other people. Yeah, so there are a lot of interesting parts in our coffee industry that people don't know yet. People don't even know you have competitions here in Uganda. Yet
I was actually about to say we should start one, but
we do. Yes, we do. I actually tried to compete. I think that was 2020, but the COVID thing came up and everything was stopped. Yeah, so you have to do a lot of research and make people, first of all, love the industry. You have to know what people like. Not just putting things on social media and all that. No, you have to know what's trending, what should I post, how should I put it out there, and you have to follow a lot of baristas to know what's going on.
Yeah, so you just don't come out there and, you know, throw something on social media without a plan.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to take a break right now, and we'll still be talking to Swabra. We also want to know how Amon comes up with his content, because I know he's not only a barista, there's a lot of other things you actually do. So I want to know how he comes up with his content, and we'll also be brewing coffee. Everyone who comes on the show has to brew for us a good cup of coffee. So we're basically rating up to now who has given us the best cup of coffee. We'll be doing that after the break. This is the Coffee Break on House of Talent Television. Welcome back to the Coffee Break on House of Talent Television. My name is Ateng Emmanuel, and remember, you can catch us on our social media handles at House of Talent Television. That's on our Twitter and on our Facebook. This show will be airing there. You can also catch us on our website, which is houseoftalentug.com. Don't miss the show. If there's someone out there, if you know a barista, someone who's involved in the coffee business and they're not watching the show right now, give them a call and let them know we are on. Before we went into the break, we're basically talking to the Coffee Goddess and the Coffee Messiah about how they come up with content. And Swabra told us, you know, she sits down and she has to do research on how to, you know, get very good content and put it out there. Content that is basically engaging and content that will keep people glued to, you know, your social media. Amon, I know that you're not only a barista, you're also a YouTuber. Okay, so how do you go about getting content for your YouTube channel?
Well, one thing I have to say is, first, you just have to know what you want to put out there. And you as a person, what are your values? Because you won't do something that doesn't follow under your values. And what's the cause? I just doing content just for the case of doing content. That's why when you start like doing such type of content, you end up losing it. But when you have that cause, you're like, okay, my cause is vegetation or growing trees. What am I going to do to make sure that we have a larger number of villagers? Okay, that might sound rude. A larger number of people in villages, grow more trees, you know? So you start like planning that. So that's how you come up with your content.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So I've come up with content, you know, I'm out there now, and I know that there are certain people, influencers, musicians, different people on social media who are not easily accessible. Okay, I believe that one of the things you have to be as an influencer is be accessible to people, because people want to interact with you, they want to ask you different types of questions, you know, and there's this whole thing of these days that, you know, sliding into someone's DM, which has become, You know, when you say, you know, I sent a DM to someone, you know, they demonize you, they look at you like, you know. So I just wanted to ask Swabra, how approachable are you on social media? Are you that kind of person? Let's say if I ask a question, you know, I send you a message, do you get back in time, or do you even get back at all? Or it's just, you know, social media, what you see is what you get, and, you know, that's the end of it. So how do you go about, you know, talking to people on social media?
I do get back, though not that quickly. I do get back to people and of course interact with them. Some come with questions and you have to answer them, like make them fall in love with the industry, and they end up saying, oh, I didn't know this, I didn't know actually you people are, you know, of recent, a friend of mine even told me, I didn't know baristas get certified. After I told him that, you know, we go to the academies and all that and we get certified. So the whole thing is I get back to them, and in the process of getting back to them, I make sure at least I educate them in one
information. And I'm at liberty to give out that information, because there might be someone coming in your DM and they want that secret information.
The whole course.
The whole course. Definitely you won't do that. But if it's just giveable information and it's brief, you can give it to them. But also when it needs like sitting down, talk about it like in nits and gritties, then you have to set up an appointment and then do that. And by the way, that's how you get your brand out there. Because just imagine Emma came into my DM and you asking me something, but the way I respond to you, I show you that, okay, I'm available, but not so much available. So if you want me, please make an appointment with me and we shall meet. Then this person will get to know that, okay, this is a high brand that I'm dealing with. I have to pay respect to them.
So basically, you just advertise yourself there. You bait them
indirectly.
You bait them into coming. That's very interesting. So the final question I want to ask on branding is this, okay? I've become a big brand. I'm out there, people know about me, okay? How do you keep up there? Because I believe it's easier to rise to the top, but keeping in that spot is a really hard thing to do. So to the both of you, how do I keep up there once I've gotten my brand to that level?
First of all, you have to be friendly, because people like friendly people. You have to be friendly and you have to be consistent. You don't have to give the same content all the time. You have to keep changing, beautifying, you know, the industry, you know, and all that. So you have to actually make people love coffee. That's what I actually do on my social media handles, and I end up getting students, you know, I want to be like you, you've inspired me. Actually people come to me and they're like, you know what inspired me into coffee is your love for coffee. I've got a lot of them. So you have to give really good content and to be consistent, and friendly actually. Yes.
To Amon, the same thing. How do you keep up there?
Well, I think it's just staying on course. Because what you used to take you to that top level, it's what you will use to stay on that top level. Because when you lose what you intended to do, then it means this audience will go away from you. They'll be like, okay, Emma no longer does what we subscribed him to do for us. Then why don't we go to someone who needs to do something we subscribe to? So you lose that content, hence you're falling.
Okay, interesting. So basically, for those who are watching, if you're a barista, you're involved in the coffee business, even if you're a farmer, I believe that there's a way you can actually brand yourself as a coffee farmer and be I don't think I've heard of anyone. So for a coffee farmer out there, this is a secret tip. This is the right time to brand yourself on social media as a coffee farmer. You don't know how many deals you can actually come up with. Well, we've reached to that point of the show where we get to brew a cup of coffee. You know, we have had very many people here, and we're talking with Amon and saying we need to do a show where we just rate the cups of coffee that we have taken here, and that put a lot of pressure on Swabra, basically, because now she has to make a really good cup of coffee. All right, so Swabra, I know that people watching from home are seeing us with all these, you know, things, and they're wondering, okay, what do they have on the show today? Okay, so we just want to start from the basics. What do we have on our set here, and what kind of coffee are we going to make? So basically, you're just going to run us through it. And I'm going to try and do this with you.
Okay, that's
Hopefully, I
interesting.
won't make any mistakes.
That's a good thing because most cases.
With different white things inside. You know,
Okay.
they kind of look like the small pieces of bread we use in the cafe.
Church, yeah.
Yeah. So just tell us, what do we have here? Why is it white? Can't we get another color like pink or something like that?
These are filter papers,
Okay.
actually. We use them to filter our coffee.
All right.
The reason being everything is manual,
Yeah.
so we need a filter inside there.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is our filter paper. This is our coffee. This is the AeroPress.
Yeah.
This is where the filter paper actually goes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then our weighing scale right
Right.
there.
It's amazing that every barista who comes has to weigh their coffee.
Yeah, you need these things. You don't just
Yeah,
have
there's
to
always
have
that
to-
average of water to coffee. That,
Yes.
you have to. Really
Yeah,
get to.
exactly.
Okay, so we have our AeroPress here.
Yeah.
We have our filters.
Filters.
And we're just waiting for our water to get ready so we
Yeah.
can go with this. We also have this. This looks like a small ping pong.
This is a spoon.
Instrument, yeah.
This is a spoon. This one we use it to stir our
Okay.
coffee.
Yeah.
It's the barista word is actually bloom.
Bloom.
Not stir,
Okay.
because
So this
everyone
is a
knows what
bloom.
stir means.
So you bloom, you don't
Yeah,
steer.
we bloom our coffee.
So we steer tea.
Yes,
Bloom coffee.
but we bloom coffee. Yeah.
All right. So as we go on, for those who are home, it's actually easy to make a cup of coffee. Most people think that you have to have some serious kind of equipment to brew a very good cup of coffee. And I know, Amon, there are people who have asked you, how can I buy this
Yeah.
instrument? How can I get this? And I guess you always tell them, it's easy to make a cup of coffee. You can get a French press or you can get an AeroPress and actually, make this cup of coffee, right? So where do we go next? We have everything set up. I have mine here. I still have no idea where I'm going with this, but let's see how that goes. So what is the capacity of this? Is there a specific capacity, and are there different spoons with different capacities? or basically buy
Not
one?
really, actually, because that's why we need the weighing scale.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the main purpose is making you smart and
Okay.
you work smart
Yeah.
to scoop, not just pouring the
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
thing.
true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So here we are.
So you can use any spoon, actually. It's not specific.
Not
It's supposed to
specific.
be.
Yeah, but
a
this one
flat
looks cool. I mean,
Yeah,
it
of
looks more
course.
professional.
Yeah, it's professional. It's the barista spoon, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so as we wait for our water to boil so we can brew this coffee, there are very few ladies that are basically involved in the coffee business, okay? It's not something that you hear ladies saying, I'm a barista, okay? It's more of a male-dominated kind of industry. So coming from your perspective, okay, how can we get more ladies into the coffee business? They don't have to only be a barista, they don't have to be a cupper. You can even go down into growing coffee, How do we make it nice? How do we make it cool? How do we make it interesting for ladies to, get into the coffee business?
I think that takes us back to the schools
Yeah.
where we go for this, the where we go for the whole courses and all that.
Yeah.
We have a challenge that we have very few schools here in Uganda,
Yeah.
so a lot of people are not really that informed, and of course ladies, I don't know why they are not confident
Yeah.
about this industry. Everyone says coffee is for men, but no, it's not.
Oh.
So I think they are not informed.
Okay.
I think it all goes back to being informed
Yeah.
about the industry, which actually we are trying to do. Me
Yeah.
personally, I'm trying to do that.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have to also show them that there are very good things in the industry. You can
Yeah.
achieve a lot in the industry.
Yeah.
Like I talked about the competitions earlier. Yeah, we
Yeah.
go for competitions,
Yeah.
for these competitions and all that. People think we are just in this industry to make money, but we are in it to win, to win. Yes, so they have to be confident
Yeah.
and informed, I think.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Amon, to you, how do we get more women involved? As we get ready to basically brew a cup of coffee and come to the end of the show, how do we get more women involved in the coffee business?
I think it's just a matter of demystifying the myths that are around coffee with women.
Yeah.
There are a lot of myths that come along with that coffee dries up women, coffee makes you lose sleep. I think we just need to demystify that, and we shall have more women come on board.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So if you're a lady out there don't be scared to be involved in the coffee business. It's like being a chef. We have very many men who are chefs. You'd think women would actually be the chefs in these big places, but they're men. Okay, so I want to see a point whereby we actually have more female baristas than the males. Okay, so let's get into brewing our coffee right now. I think our water is ready. As we're coming towards the end of the show, but before we get there, let's show you guys how to brew a good cup of coffee by the coffee goddess.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start by preheating my filter paper.
Yeah.
I do this because I don't want my coffee to have that pepper smell in it. So I have to first preheat my filter paper. And then I have my weighing scale here. I need my coffee. So I'm going to be using a ratio of 13 grams of coffee with 200 mLs of water.
So do you also like make your own coffee and grind it, or you just depend on getting coffee from different
I really do make my own coffee. I roast my own coffee. Actually, I'm trying to study how to be a good roaster. I do that at home sometimes. Yeah.
So there are different parts of basically the coffee industry. I know some people only hear that, being a barista, but you can be a kappa, you can be someone who actually does the growing of coffee. But I believe that there are also other parts of the coffee business that I've not looked into. Okay? For example, like Amadou said, you can be an influencer. Okay? You don't have to be directly involved with the coffee business, but you can actually be an, you can be an influencer. You can be an investor also in the coffee business, because I believe that there are all those other options. Okay, and we shouldn't only look at one side. So it would be a really nice thing to see you guys in future investing in the coffee business. Okay, being big baristas and just going back there and basically giving back. Investing and taking the coffee business to the place where it should be. Okay, so yeah, back to our brewing. We're basically poured, I don't know how many ounces of coffee.
I've used 13 grams of coffee. Yes. Right. And then after you pour your coffee into the AeroPress, you have to tare, because you have to measure the water, which is 200 ml that we are going to use. So as you do this, as you start pouring over, you have to turn on the timer.
Okay.
Yes.